Hey folks, this is Ken again, and this is another FTP from the Pit Fast Track. And this time I'm going to be talking to you about a little something we call p-hacking. No, I do not mean using a computer or breaking into a computer so you can go to the bathroom. P-hacking is a way people can do research and do it in a fraudulent way or in a very biased way to get the results exactly the way they want them. This is a phrase you might start hearing a lot of if you haven't already. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I mentioned in my recent long version of Asita What the F that I was worried that RFK Jr. and his cronies would use that as a way, backdoor way to get in to do research that coincides with what they want. And also after seeing the video of him getting very defensive when he was being asked for them to provide protocols for these studies, it makes me worry even more. So, as I've mentioned in other episodes, good research is done by stating your hypothesis first. Properly done studies also tend to make their protocols known first, usually through what's called an IRB, or an independent review board. And that's kind of one of the ways we can make sure that their conclusions match their hypothesis, which is the proper way to do science. What people do when they're p-hacking is basically they try to analyze the data multiple ways or selectively report results to get the conclusions that they want. So basically they have a predetermined conclusion. They're not asking a hypothesis and seeing if the data takes them there or not. They already have a preconceived notion of what they want. And then they basically try to analyze the data multiple ways or take out certain data that benefits their preconceived conclusion to get a statistically significant low p-value, usually less than 0.05. And this can be done in numerous ways. They can do test many different outcomes. They can drop inconvenient data. They can try different covariates until one works. And unfortunately, all that does is create a lot of false positives. It harms the reproducibility of research, and basically only contributes to the crisis we have with people not buying into research. The easiest way to avoid this is for researchers. The easiest way to get to accomplish this behind the back type maneuver is for people to not really announce their hypothesis ahead of time, not making their research protocols available ahead of time, and not being transparent about it. And again, seeing as the way RFK reacted and how defensive he's gotten, I'm even more concerned he's heading in that direction. Now here's the reality of the situation. Sometimes this happens in research. But the proper way to handle it is to not lie about your conclusion or lie about it matching your hypothesis. And I'll give you a couple of examples here. Two different medications for very different reasons. Minoxidil for growing hair and Viagra for erectile dysfunction. Both of these medications were initially brought out as blood pressure medications, antihypertensive medications. And when they were doing the studies for these, they realized that it wasn't really doing too much for people's blood pressure. But in the case of minoxidil, guys were saying, hey, my hair started to grow a lot. Or, guys who were taking the Viagra were saying, you know what, my erections are a lot better. So what these pharmaceutical companies did, they did the right thing. They went back to the drawing board. They developed new protocols, and they developed studies that appropriately evaluated these medications to see if they did indeed help people grow hair, help guys with their erectile dysfunction. They didn't just tweak the data to say, oh, this is what we were looking for to begin with. And we got these results. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little background, a little bit more background into research, how it's properly done, and what is very likely ahead of us with RFK and his cronies. I hope I'm wrong.